First day, fresh tie, fresh shoes, forecast in hand, fresh off the thesis printer. I thought I could fix you by Wednesday. Walked in like a wizard with an Excel wand. Thought R squared meant I had a magic bond. Enrollment curves and a campus map. Didn't know the funnel leaks like a cracked tap. Ill-built a cohort tracker in my first week. VP called it cute, said go tweet. Learn quick that models don't matter if your dean still lives in a world pre-scatter. I remember thinking, this place just needs a little logic, a little order, a cleaner CRM. Then I met the CRM. She wasn't clean, she wasn't logical, she was beautiful in a way that ruins men. Report with a join too wide, cracked open 8,000 rows of misapplied pride. But they clapped when it loaded in under 10. I thought, this is it, I'll fix it all by May 10. I didn't fix it, not by census, not even by my fourth title change. But I showed up, and sometimes that is the fix. Same shoes, and I still smile when someone says you'll get the hang of it soon.
You want insights with style, a forecast that can beguile. But you only read the colors, not the notes in the file. You said, make it pop, make it clean, something sleek on a PowerPoint screen. So I gave you bars with elegant lines, but you still ask, what's the takeaway this time?
I once did a 14-page analysis on summer melt. They used one pie chart, and it wasn't even my pie chart. It was stock art from SlideShare. I died a little.
Oh, chart me like one of your French reports, with filters that flatter and segments that chord. I'll paint you pictures with my cohort logic, if you promise not to murder it in topic. All I wanted was for someone to read past the colors to the underlying need. But your eyes glazed at regression trees. You just said, can this fit on one sheet, please? Scroll with me, unroll with me. Let me annotate the places you won't see. Now I build dashboards in the dead of night, knowing they'll never hit the VP's site. But I keep formatting, aligning the port, still hoping someone will chart me right. There's a special kind of heartbreak when you realize the only people who understand your table dashboard are the interns who left, and they thanked you for it.
never forget your first cohort. Fall 2013 here. I tracked them like a storm front. Churn rate, major shifts, mid-semester fade. I knew them better than they knew themselves. They came in strong, 110. Hope in their absent pens in their den. Map their paths in a spreadsheet dream. Watch the yield drip in stream by stream. They stumbled, surged, some even soared. The first gen striver, the one who got bored. The quiet one who never missed a class. And the wild card I had to overpass. I didn't know their names, but I knew their meal plan usage. I knew when they stopped checking their email. I knew when they were gone before they ever withdrew. I kept their curve close through all the years, their highs and dips, their hopes and fears. When I modeled next fall's fate, I still saw their arc inside the slate. Some crossed that stage, tassels held high. Some ghosted in spring with no goodbye. But in my chart they still remain, a curve I'll never model again. I still visit that folder sometimes. It's very deep, but when I open it, the curve still holds. And so do I.
Call it optimism, but the model remembers. Oh, the sins of the baseline, buried deep in cell C9. We fed it 5 years of calm, pretended the tremors were noise. Search was stable, visits reliable, yield dependable, till it wasn't. Leadership applauded, the melt still came. Then came the masks, the cancellations, the quiet chaos in the common air. We trained it to trust the curve, even as the curve was breaking. Test optional, test blind, test who knows. The baseline doesn't judge, it just repeats. It doesn't ask if students still believe in us, if families can still afford us, if our brochures aged poorly in the heat of a changing world. Oh, the sins of the baseline, weighted average of a different age. Built when the funnel still funneled, built when normal was still a thing. We saw the cliff, we built no rails. We saw the fade, we blame the rain. The trick is not forgiving yourself, it's understanding that the model never asked to be right, it just wanted to be trained. The census comes, it always comes, and it doesn't care how tired you were, how many nights you stared at the dashboard, how many flags you raised that no one read. Oh, the sins of the baseline, we all committed them. We just didn't think they'd be graded.
They called me into the office, closed the door and smiled, said, we see all that you're doing, like I hadn't been compiled. Congratulations, you've been seen. Now here's a title fit for a queen. Same old job with a brand new frame. Now folks forget your actual name.
I became Director of Strategic Enrollment Metrics and Integrated Operations, which roughly translated to still fixing everyone's exports now with more reply all emails.
No bump in pay, but hey, that's fine. You get a desk that gets less sunlight. You're invited now to leadership check-ins, where no one checks in and no one leads. Oh, they said it came with influence and institutional trust, but I just inherited broken projects and a whiteboard collecting dust.
except with extra slack threads I can unwind. You ever been congratulated so enthusiastically you forget you're being underpaid? Yeah, that's when I knew I was staying.
There wasn't a title for what I became, just boxes and rolls, all sounding the same. They had their analysts, directors and deans, but none held the fire that lived in my seams. With iron in one hand and data in the next, I shaped strategy from scatter plots and text. Not just numbers, not just plans, but forged insight with my calloused hand. They laughed at the term at first, mentallurgist. Too grand, too strange, too made up. But what else do you call someone who takes raw enrollment chaos and hammers it into something that holds? They said it was number, they said it was luck, but they weren't there for the melt or the muck. I stayed when the models cracked and failed, and still I built, and still I nailed. Oh, I wrote my title in sweat and flame, burned it in steel, signed it with my name. I wasn't hired, I wasn't assigned, I became the role no ore could define. Mentallurgist, not just a word, but the truth behind every unheard. Where craft meets code, where charts ignite, I built the path with forge-born light. I wasn't the first to feel it, but I was the first to say it out loud. And once you name a thing, you can never unmake it.
Didn't leave out of anger. I left because I didn't recognize the sound of quiet anymore. Woke up one morning, calendar clear, no dashboards blinking, no students near. The silence rang louder than the melt ever did, and in it I found what I'd hid. There were months I didn't open Slate, didn't touch a chart, didn't even check LinkedIn. I told people I was consulting, but really, I was trying to remember how to breathe without a census deadline looming. It wasn't the job that broke me, it was how I wore it like a second skin. It was how I kept fixing systems while mine wore thin. I miss birthdays, I miss sleep. I learned to love the feeling of falling too deep. And when I finally walked away, I didn't even leave a report. The work never asked me to disappear. I did that all by myself.
They gave me a badge with my name in gold, a leather chair and a pitch well sold. Said I'd scale my insides at enterprise speed. Turns out they meant PowerPoints and greed. Morning flights and hotel keys, keynotes full of expertise, spoken buzzwords, dressed in flair, but I couldn't find my mission there. I traded my enrollment dashboards for CRM demos and rented boardrooms. My click-through rates improved, so didn't. Non-profit soul for profit suit, dancing through meetings in snakeskin boots. I smiled on stage, I nailed the chart, couldn't quiet my analyst heart. The pipeline was clean, the bonus obscene, but nothing I built ever reached 17. Like a ghost, I miss the forms with typos, the parents who call, the questions that mattered, the stakes that were small. I miss the messy, the broke, the unsure, the students who needed less pitch, more cure. Non-profit soul for profit suit, tried to bloom in soil that wouldn't root. I cashed the check, I shook the hand, but I missed the forge, the heat, the stand. I had the money, the title, the calendar full of things that didn't matter. It took me 2 years to admit that I'd never felt more unemployed. I came back through the side door. No keynote, no confetti fall, just a quiet desk and a hand-me-down chair and a whiteboard. I scrubbed clean of it all.
Didn't ask for the corner office,
coordinate in it and wore it like a flag.
I started training interns, building tools we never had time to build.
Grew a team that didn't roll their eyes when I said strategy is a craft.
Head count was low, but the fire was high. We joked through the freeze and scraped the sky. Didn't save the place, just held a space, and somehow that felt right. We wrote documentation like it mattered, left breadcrumbs for the next in line. Stop naming queries, test final, and that felt like a holy sign.
I used to think success meant titles, now I measure it in chairs I fill.
In students who never knew my name, but crossed the stage because of what we built.
Head count was low, but the flame returned in hallway laughs and lessons learned.
Didn't fix the system, but I grew a forge and let others take their turn. They didn't hire me to lead, but somehow that's what I ended up doing. And this time I didn't burn out, I caught fire.
Head count was low, but the fire was high. We joked through the freeze and scraped the sky. Didn't save the place, just held a space,
And somehow that felt right.
we wrote documentation like it mattered, left breadcrumbs for the next in line. Stop naming queries, test final, and that felt like a holy sign.
I used to think success meant titles.
Now I measure it in chairs I filled.
In students who never knew my name, but crossed the stage because of what we built.
Head count was low.
Well, I made it, folks, they gave me the seat, with an office so big it echoes defeat. Got a Keurig machine and a view of the lot, but a little voice nags at the back of my thought. Vice President, at long last it's me, a calendar clogged with strategy, facilitating visions, aligning the brand, while slowly forgetting where I used to stand. I lead strategic planning retreats now. We use Post-its, lots and lots of Post-its, color-coded regret. This is what I climbed for, right? Long nights and endless fights, corner office with the light just right, and a frame quote that dims in a night. They call me the vision guy, the glue, but some days I miss just cleaning up a queue. PowerPoint decks and endless review, but I guess that's just what VPs do. The students are numbers, the stakes feel numb. I hire directors and I lose some. I say institutional alignment in my sleep, and I cry during budget week.
They tell me I'm making a difference, but they also told me enrollment was up. That was before the audit. So here's to the meetings with no end in sight, to strategic pillars and dimming light. I wear the title like a tailored suit, but it itches like truth in a three-piece loop. I made it to the title that once lit my fire, but sometimes I still miss just fixing a query and being admired. They call it summit, like we climbed here. But the only thing we scaled was a mountain of unread emails and DMs that start with quick question. Name badge glinting in the hallway light, shoe polished handshakes and vendor invites. She's on her third panel of the day. He's pretending he didn't just cry during breakfast. We all look great in our branded fleece vests. They used to give me butterflies, these summits. Now I just pace the vendor hall, counting how many names I don't recognize. I pass the booths, I pass the pitch decks, I pass old friends turn polite nods. Someone asks how I've been, I say busy, and we both know that's just a safe way to say tired. We used to swap stories, now we swap survival tips. How's your CRM? Still crashing? How's your staff? Still leaving? How are you? Still here? I don't come for the content anymore. I come for the faces that still show up, even when their knees ache, even when the models broke, even when their joy became just something they manage. I love them, even if none of us says it. I just hope they're still here next year.
There's no lesson tonight, no insight to crystallize. Just a bench of bourbon and an inbox I didn't finish. The lights are low, the room's gone still, but I can still feel the cold under the nose. I've worn the title, carry the binders, fired up dashboards like they were gospel, and still there are questions I can't model. Still wonder if I belong. But every time I think I'm done, I catch a glimpse of the forge, a new apprentice, a fresh mistake, a spark that doesn't need my name. The embers still warm, the tools still wait. I'll walk back in when the sky turns slate. I'm not finished, I never was. I'm just cooling for the night.